Oh, good morning. So we've been looking at what are the basics really of having a great relationship, and it's not rocket science. It's not for me anyway. It has to be safe. You, we have to look at the space between the two of you and remove all negativity. You want to refill that space with positives, and you have to learn to talk to each other in a safe way. So last week I talked about the idea of safety, and especially the idea that how do you increase safety is to increase pleasure, which seems like an obvious equation, but there's part of our culture that distrusts if things are too good. We're waiting for the next shoe to drop or knock on wood, stuff like that. But no, we're saying the more nice things you do for each other, say for each other, the safer it becomes. So today I want to look at zero negativity in the space between. You cannot keep putting negativity in there because it causes disconnect. So typically we think of a relationship as two people, you and you. And the challenge is to think of your relationship as the two of you plus the space between you, because it really is a real energy field, isn't it? And you can tell when there's tension. It's either tension free or it's not. There's sort of no middle ground. And any couple I've asked that to know intuitively when there's tension in the space between. And quantum theory tells us that this whole universe of ours is basically just energy, but it's all connected. It's all in relationship. Atom to atom, molecule to molecule, planet to planet, galaxy to galaxy. Everything is in connection. There's nothing that's isolated. So your little relationship is sort of a microcosm of the vast macrocosm. And if you put negativity in the space between, it causes disconnect. And what you want is to connect. Now, this is the piece of the puzzle that I think couples are having the most problems with, because I think to some extent it's unconscious. So what's the solution to that? And it seems to me there's two things. One is you as a couple have to agree, is there too much negativity in your space between, if that's an issue for you? And then B, if there is, committing to eliminating that negativity ASAP, as soon as possible, because the negativity causes disconnect, and what you want is connection. And I say negativity is your relationship, like cancer is to your body. It'll kill you. You cannot keep putting negativity in there because it causes disconnect. So here's the challenge. How do you let your partner know that something they did appeared as negative to you without getting their back up even more? It's that's the issue. Because the caveat is it's the person on the receiving end who determines whether something is negative or not. I might think I was doing something that was okay, but if my partner perceives that as negative, then I'm the one who has to change. So the challenge is, how do I let her, in this case, know that I perceive something as negative without getting her even more defensive? All right? So my suggestion to you is that before you start the process of eliminating all negativity, the first step in that direction is to agree on a word or a phrase or an action that will alert your partner that something they didn't work for you. All right? And you both have to agree on that, so that if he or she says that, it's not going to get your back up even more. So here's an analogy that might help. It was over the March break, we had the grandkids down. It was great. And we end up working on a number of jigsaw puzzles. So if you get a piece I didn't, I don't take that personally. We're both trying to get the puzzle done. So if you get a piece, that's great. All right? It helps both of us reach our goal, which is completing the puzzle. So you want to be in a position where if you let your partner know that something they did was negative, it's not an attack on them. It's not personal. It's just you're both trying to remove all negativity from the space between. It has to be a win-win for both of you. So the code word that you decided on, let your partner know in a way that's safe for both of you that something was perceived as negative, and then you want to correct it as soon as possible. All right, so that it's not about, well, you did this or you did that, but how do we protect the space between? Because that's really what we're trying to do, is eliminate any negativity there. And I've had couples use simple terms like whoops, ouch, wow, or some have used sporting terms like offsides, roughing, clipping, that kind of thing. But you get the idea, all right? You have to come up with a code word or action that you both agree on beforehand to let your partner know that you experience something as negative without causing more friction. All right? Then you have to sit down and talk about it, figure out how not to let that happen again. And that's where, any couple has to learn to talk to each other in a safe way. In the Imago system, we use the safe conversation process, which I'll talk about in a couple of weeks. But next week, I want to sort of focus on refilling the space between with positives, affirmations, and appreciations on a daily basis. So again, if you want a great relationship, it has to be safe. You cannot keep putting negative into the space between. Next week, we'll look at refilling that space with the positives, and then you have to find a way to talk to each other in a safe way about anything. Okay. Anyway, have a great day. See you next week, and happy Easter to all of you. God bless.